Hello everyone and welcome to the first video of this tutorial. Firstly, and before I will start dive into Houdini and create a rigging tool for the tree, let us learn how we can create a tree model. So I will use for this the SpeedTree software. I know you probably didn't use this application before, and this is the first time when you see how the user interface for this application looks like. So don't worry, it is not very complicated, and we will learn just how we can create a tree model that we can import it inside Houdini and create the rigging tool. Also, we will learn what is the perfect export setting to Houdini and some other options. Okay, so when you install the SpeedTree software, this is and open it. This is the user interface for this software. From the file here in the menu, create, select here new, and this it will create a new project for us. As you can see, new SpeedTree. On the right here we have this generation tab where we can see this single node, tree node. If I select this node, on the left here you can see this is the properties for this node. This is all the setting and all the options for this tree node. So the navigation inside the viewport, it is similar to Houdini. So this is the left mouse button. As you can see, rotate the viewport, and middle mouse button, pan, and mouse wheel for zoom in and zoom out. Okay, so I'm going to create a tree model using firstly creating firstly the trunk. So from this add button here, click and you can see we have this menu where there are the trunks and branches, and there are the leaves, roots, and hand draw. So we will go through all this thing for creating our tree. So as I already said, I will start creating the tree model by creating the trunk firstly. So from the trunk menu here, I will select the second option, standard, and this it will create this trunk node for us in the generation tab. And in the viewport you can see we have this geometry. If you don't like how this geometry, the shading mode for this geometry, you can change this from this render button here. Click and you can see this list here, realistic without shadow, and there are the wireframe mode, and I like to keep it by default realistic. If you want to see the wireframe shaded mode like in Houdini, so you can click on this show button here and select the edges, and this it will show us the edges or the wireframe shaded mode, as you can see in the viewport. Okay, if I will select right now the trunk button, let us see what is the options and what is the setting for this trunk node. It is on the left side here. You can see there are more than one tab. There are the all, generation, spine, branch, and there are the material, and so on. So the most common setting options for this trunk node is under the generation and spine tab. Under the generation tab, we can control the frequency. I will keep it by default by 1, and there are some other options. You can browse what is the effect for all these options. The more interesting one is the spine tab. Here you can see we have the accuracy, we have the length, so I can start manipulate the length, and as you can see in the viewport how this option affect the length for the trunk, and by default it is 30. And there are the start angle, I will keep it by default 0. And also there are very interesting option is the disturbance. So manipulate or increase this disturbance, you can see it will give us, I think it is more realistic shape for the trunk. I know if it is more realistic or not, this is my opinion, but I think this is based on the kind of the tree that we want to create model. So, and it can be in the minus direction or in the positive, as you can see. Okay, and also there are very interesting thing. It is the bifurcation, as you can see here, the bifurcation section. So first parameter is the chains. So in the bifurcation section here, the first parameter is the chance. So if I will set, or if I will increase this chance to 1, that is mean the bifurcation is a must right now. So if I would select the trunk node here, and in the generation tab there are very useful button here. It is the randomize button. So click on the randomize, so you can see it will create a new trunk for us in the viewport. The same setting here for this trunk, but it is different generation just. So you can hit on this randomize every time. It will give us a new generation different from the previous one. So this is very useful and help function here, this randomize button here. Okay, and if I will decrease this chance to 0, that is mean there are no bifurcation, it will happen. So increase to 1, and the next parameter here, the next option, it will control where this bifurcation to happen, at the start, that's mean 0, or at the end, that's mean 1. Okay, so you can see how this is manipulated. I will select more perfect shape, and you can see right now how this option, how it's setting, sorry, not this one, this option here, how it is controlling the shape or the bifurcation position along the trunk. Okay, right now I keep it by default 0.5. it was, I think, and here also I think it was 0.5. okay, and right now you can see there are no bifurcation because the chance is 0.5, so 50 by 50. And also, if you want to add a material to this trunk, we must go here under the material tab, and you can see under the material tab there are two options. There are the branch and there are the cap. So I'm going to click on this plus button here, and you can see it's created a new material, and by default this option, material option, set to inherited. So I'm going to click on this and select import new material, and this it will open for us this default folder where all the materials and 3D mesh geometry will be installed together with this SpeedTree application, SpeedTree software. So this is the default folder on the Windows operating system. So you can see program files, SpeedTree version 7.1.1 sample trees. Okay, the material that I will select is this one, open, and right now you can see we have the materials. It will open to show us how this materials looks like. Close it, and we have right now the material or the texture assigned to this trunk. I will turn off the edges. I will click on this show button here and select the edges. Okay, this is right now the trunk, and this is the material. And also from the trunk, if we want to manipulate the texture, the UV coordinate for this trunk, we can do this by going to the material tab and manipulate this U and V setting here. So you can see you can manipulate right now the U and the V options. I will keep it by default 1.5 by 1.5. okay, so we created the trunk. Let us see how we can create right now the branches. So again, I'm going to click on this add button here and select branches, and from the menu I will select the second option here, standard, and this it will create for us these two options. And as you can see right now, there are no need to assign a material to this branches, because by default the material or the texture, it will be inherited from the trunk one, the first node here. And again, I will go here to the level 1, and from the spine tab I will increase the disturbance. I think this disturbance it give us more realistic shape for the tree. And the level number 2 also, here I will increase the disturbance. And under the generation tab for the level 2 I will increase this frequency here, so you can see this is the shape. And for the level 1 I think I will do the same. So as you can see right now, I can click on the tree and hit on randomize, and every time it will generate a new shape for us. As you can see, a new shape for the tree every time I would click on this randomize button here. Okay, so I want the first one. Sorry, redo. Okay, and level 1 frequency I will keep it 5. Okay, right now if we want to create leaves for this tree model, I'll select level 2, and again going to click on this add button here, and from the leaves I'll select the first option, and this will create this geometry, this leaves geometry assigned to the last branch level, as you can see. And if I will turn on again the edges for the in the viewport, you can see right now the geometry that is used for this leaves mesh is simple quad or simple grid. So if you want to load another mesh, or if you want to use one different geometry piece for the leaves, you can do this by clicking on the leaves node here. From this leaves node, going to the mesh, and under the geometry you can see here the type. There are two options, the geometry and the material. The geometry by default is the simple leaf, so click here, and I'm going to select import new mesh, and again this folder will be opened, and I will select the leaf.obj. so all this setting is coming by default and installed into your SpeedTree software path. Okay, open, and you can see right now we have the mesh. It will be open, the mesh tab. I can drag here, and this it will show us how the new geometry for this leaves looks like. Okay, close it. And if we want to assign a material, again under the mesh tab, from the material tab, select here from the material option here, I'm going to click on the import new material. Again this folder it will be opened, and I will select leaf, open, and the materials it will open to show us how this texture looks. Close it, is okay. I'm going to turn off the visibility for the edges, and right now this is how our leaves looks like. We can manipulate this leaf size by going to the generation tab, and you can see in the shared section here I'm going to increase this size scale to 1.5. also for the frequency I will increase this frequency a little, and let's see, I'm going to increase the frequency for the level 2 branches. So this is our tree right now, and if we want to manipulate the orientation for the leaves, as you can see, I'm going to click on the leaves node, and going to click on the mesh tab, and here you can see we have this setting in the mesh section. Here we have the up rotation, and we have also the out rotation, so you can see how this it will affect the orientation for the leaves, and there are the right rotation. I'm going to select the setting here, and right now you can see there are this option here, sorry, this light here. So using this light I can click and start rotate the slide to give it different orientation for the light, as you can see in the viewport. And if you want to increase the radius for the trunk, so I'm going to click on the trunk node, and in the I think in the branch you can see in the branch there are this radius option here, radius setting, and you can see how this it will increase the radius for the tree. Okay, and for the branch in the level 1 and level 2 you can see that the radius style is relative to the trunk one. Okay, so by increasing the trunk I'm going to increase the radius for the branches in the same way, in the same time. Okay, and don't forget that we have right now this piece of geometry that there are no material assigned to it. That is because in the trunk here under the material tab you can see we have here the branch and we have the cap. So I'm going to click on this plus button here, and you can see we have right now this material by default is inherited. Click here and select import new material, and again this folder, the default folder for the materials, it will be open, and I'm going to select cap, open, and the materials will show us how this texture looks. Close, and right now you can see right now we have material assigned to this piece of geometry because this is a cap geometry. Okay, I think this is all the setting for creating the tree, and as I told you I can select one of those. For example, I can select this level 2 branch and click on the randomize, and this it will keep the trunk, it will keep the level 1 of a branch the same, and it will just randomize the level number 2 of the branches. And if you want to randomize the trunk, just the trunk, click on the trunk and hit on the randomize, and this it will create new shape for the trunk. If you want to randomize or generate new look for all these nodes, the trunk, level 1, level 2, and the leaves, select the tree node and hit on randomize, and you can see there are a new tree. It will be generated every time when I'm going to click on this randomize button here. And in the viewport also you can see there are those numbers here. So the final number here is the number of polygon. The total number here is the final number or the whole number of the polygons in this tree model. So you can see every time when I click on the randomize, so every time when I'm going to hit on this randomize, this number is changed and it will show me how many polygons in this node. So right now I can select this leaves node and hit the H key on the keyboard, and this it will turn off the visibility for this node. And also I will turn off the visibility for the leaves. So select the leaves, the level number 2, the branches from the level number 2, and hit on the H key, and it will turn off the visibility for this branches. Okay, right now if you want to change the direction for some of those branches in the level 1, so we can select this level 1 branch, and I'm going to click on this force button here. You can see it, and add force. I will select a magnet force and to select the translate tool, I'm going to click on this tool button here and select translate, or simply you can use the shortcut, the WK on the keyboard. So you can see right now when I will start change the position for this magnet, how it is changing the location or the direction for those branches. And right now if I select this node here and turn on again the visibility, you can see, and in the tree node select this magnet, and right now we can see this is on the left here. It is the properties, the setting for this magnet node, so I can increase the force or the strength for this magnet. And one other interesting options here is the attenuation. By default there are no attenuation. I will select linear one and I will start decrease this distance, and the next parameter I will decrease, and right now this magnet will affect just the closest branches. So again I will turn off the visibility for this level 2 and I will select this magnet, and you can increase the indicator size from this option here. The magnet is selected and indicator scale increase a little, and you can see. And right now if I will change this location, you can see how this affect just the closest branches. So for example I can set the magnet close to this one, and increase the strength, and you can see how this is changed the direction. Let us try to generate a new trunk, not this one and not this one. And for the trunk here I will increase the length a little, and the tree I will select another one. I think this one it is more interesting, and select this magnet here. For example for this branch, you can see how this branch is connected to the, it is going under the ground. So what we can do, I can control this by using the magnet. So make the magnet close to this branch, and you can see how this it will affect those close branches. And I can increase the distance a little, also I can set this amplitude in negative or in positive, so you can see the effect of the negative amplitude. As you can see. Okay, so enable this magnet or disable, and you can see the effect for this in the viewport. So this is how we can create a tree, and how we can manipulate the directions, and how we can use the forces for manipulate the directions for the branches. And right now I'll turn on the visibility for the branches on the level 2, and again I'll select this magnet and move it down, and you can see without this magnet where this is, this branch is here, it is going under the ground, and using this magnet we solve this. As you can see, I will turn on also the visibility for the leaves, as you can see, and I can select right now this tree node here and hit on the randomize button here, and every time we have a new tree it will be generated. And also for the trunk one here in the disturbance, I will decrease this disturbance a little, and in the bifurcation section here I will decrease also the chance option, and select the tree, hit the randomize, and you can see right now we have this tree model. Randomize again and we have this tree model. I think I select this node and I will keep the disturbance 0.5. okay, so as you can see, and for the leaves I think I need to increase the scale. So from the generation tab in the shared section I increase this a little. Okay, so as you can see we created this tree model, and every time we want to create new one we can use this randomize button here. So select the tree, hit the randomize, and this it will generate a new tree for us. Those number here it will told us how it will tell us how many polygons in this tree. So randomize again, so you can see right now those this tree there are not very high number of the polygons. As you can see it's about 200,000 of polygons in this tree, and I don't like the orientation for this leaves, so I'll select this leaves, and under the mesh tab here let me try to up rotation. And also there are for this leaves in the placement tab here there are this orientation section here. You can see the alignment right now. By default there are no alignment. I will select here centered align, and this it will give me also some nice orientation for those leaves. And you can see we have this options, this thing for the offset, sweep, and the rule. So I will start manipulate this and zoom in the camera to some close to some leaves to see the effect of those setting. So you can see how the offset effect and the sweep and the rule, and from the mesh tab I will start to change the orientation a little, and I will increase also the sensitivity. So I will increase the parent and the sky also. I think this option it's okay. So I'm going to save this in the project file. You'll find it as the tree model into SpeedTree tree model. So from the file I'll select save as, and here I'll save it in the project file into the SpeedTree files, and I will name this to SpeedTree model. So after we created this procedural tree model into the SpeedTree, and we saw how we can add magnet force, and don't forget that you can use, there are many other options of the magnet like the coral, like the direction magnet, direction force. All you can try to use all of those kind of the force and see the effect for this force on the branch in the viewport. Okay, I will show you how we can use the hand draw for creating a tree. So firstly, let us see this example. I already created a tree model using the hand draw mode. So open also this file, it will you will find it in the project files. Open the hand draw tree, and this is the tree that I already created by using the hand draw mode. So how we can use the hand draw mode? Okay, from the file here, create a new project and select the tree node here. I'm going to click on this add button here, and from the hand draw I will select sub D trunk. Select this one right now, and in the viewport I will select a plane perpendicular on the ground, and I will hold the spacebar key and click the mouse left button and start drag, and it will create this hand draw tree for us, as you can see. So I repeat again, I will delete this, and let's see how the shape for this tree looks like. So it is going like this. Okay, I'll try to recreate like this tree. Okay, select again, and from the hand draw sub D trunk, press the spacebar, left mouse, okay, this is the final shape I think that we are going to create it. And right now you can select this trunk, left click on this trunk and select nodes with edit. And right now if I will select this, you can see right now we have those vertices, we have those points to control the shape for this node. So I can select any one of those control points. For example, I can delete this one, I can delete also this one, and I can delete this one, and this one. So select the green point and delete. So as you can see, so right now when you work with those vertices, try to keep the orientation for the viewport in the same plane. So I will drag this down here, and what we can see that every point, every green point, there are two points for this green point. So I can select one of those points, and I will start manipulate, and you can see I am still in the same, sorry, undo this, I am in the same plane. So, and right now from this side, and what we can do here is I will start add some depth in this axis here. So I will start select this green node here and give it a little translate on this axis, this one also, and I think this one I will delete, and this one, sorry, select again, select this one, translate a little, and this one here, and this one a little, and this one here, translate a little, and I will select also this one here. Okay, and right now I will start manipulate the pointers. As you can see, every green node, there are 2 pointers for this green node, so I will start manipulate the pointers for those green nodes. I want this one, not this one, this one, and this one here also I will select, and I will select this one, right now from this side. I want this point, this one, sorry, I want this one, sorry, and this, and so as you can see right now we have those shape. Turn on the wireframe shaded mode, click on the show button and show the edges, as you can see. And right now for those also I want to add some depth here, so I'll start give some translate for those nodes, and here I'll delete. Don't forget that the help for this the SpeedTree software, it is very useful. You can see there are a way for resample, so I'll start. I need to select this one. Okay, you can close, and I'll this down, and right now it is selected. Sorry. So I'll start. Give those pointers also some translate. For the last part here, so I'll delete this one and delete this one and delete this one here, and I'll select this node. I'll select this one also. I will delete this one here. I will select this one and I want to delete, and I start to manipulate the pointers for those. Firstly, I will give this one here some. Sorry, select the green one. And I select those small vertices firstly. Delete this one, and to make it, to give the trunk more smooth shape, and here I'll select those pointers and start make it close to each other to give a smooth shape. As I told you, try to keep when you manipulate this sub vertices, try to keep the viewport in one orientation. I think I need to increase this. And I'll delete those one. I'll delete this one, and I'll select this point here. Drag, sorry, down a little, and select this one. Make it close to each other. So this one. Delete this one and select this one and this one. So this is the final shape, and you can see it is nice trunk. So right now I think here we must add some. Sorry, try to keep the same plane. And here so I think it's okay right now. And what we can do, I can select this trunk again and hit on this add button here, and from the hand draw I will select sub deep branch. So I'll select sorry, drag, hold the space bar, and you can see right now. Firstly, let us try to select to select some nice plane. So I want this plane, so hold the space bar, and you can see when the mouse comes over the trunk, you can have this white highlight line on the trunk. And right now we can left mouse click and start draw some branch. As you can see, there are just one plane. All this branch, it will be in the drawing plane. And here also I will create some sorry, do this. I want a different plane. I'll select this plane, and here also I will create and where to create one other range. I think here, maybe in this plane. After we create this branches, select this branches, and again I will go here to the add button here, and from the branch I'll select standard, and this will create this two levels for us, as you can see. So I'll select firstly the level 1 and disturbance this a little, and the level 2 and disturbance a little. Also I can control the length for the level 1. Firstly I will decrease this a little, and for the level 2 increase, and from the generation I will increase the frequency, and right now I'll select the level 2, add some leaves. I will change the geometry mesh, so select import new mesh, the leaf.obj, and I will add material, the leaf material, close, turn off the edge visibility. I'll select here also the trunk, and under the material I will create new material and import new material, and this one, open, close, and as you can see it is inherited. Right now I think I need to select the trunk, and I think I need to change the scale for the U from 5 or from 3 decrease, and decrease also the scale for the coordinate, the V coordinate. The same thing with the branch, decrease the U from 5 to 1.7, and the V also 1.3, and the frequency here for this level 2, increase the frequency, and increase also the frequency for the leaves. And for the leaves here under the mesh I will start add some orientation, manipulate the orientation a little, and the trunk under the branch tab, increase the radius, as you can see. Okay, very nice. Select the leaves, manipulate the parent, and from the generation tab here increase the size a little, and I can also select the level number 2, the level number 1, and also add leaves to this level. Just in this time again I will load the leaf number 1, the geometry mesh is the leaf, and the material I will assign the leaf material, and for those leaves I will increase the scale and of course manipulate the orientation a little. And from the generation also alignment, centered align, the same thing for those leaves, centered align, and the same thing here. I will manipulate this a little. And for the trunk, I think we forgot to add a cap material. So from the material tab, in this option here in the material section, I'm going to click on this plus button here, and I will use select import new material, and I will use the cap material, open, close, and you can see it right now here. It is exist. Okay, so this is our tree model and how we created it. I hope you like this video introduction to the tree modeling inside the SpeedTree, and I will save this file also, save as, and hand tree hand draw tree number 1 and save. So right now let us see how we can export the tree model that we created it into the SpeedTree software to Houdini, and what is the perfect setting that I want to include it into this geometry, exported geometry, to make this model work with the tool that we will create it, the rigging tool, into Houdini. So firstly I will open the file that I already created it, the hand draw tree, load this tree model, and for export this tree geometry into Houdini, select firstly this tree node, and from the file I'm going to go click on the export the mesh, and right now I will navigate to the project files, into the SpeedTree files. There are into the SpeedTree files folder, there are one other folder, it is the tree geometry export, and select here, there are more than one option. I'll select the FBX extension, Autodesk FBX, and save. It will take some time, and this Autodesk FBX exporter options, it will open, and there are this is the setting here, and this is the setting for exporting this FBX geometry before we will import it into Houdini. So you can see there are settings over the geometry, there are settings for the extra data, texture, and there are some other options. Very important to check here the caps also, and select here group by all. This is very important. And there are the units, it must be the same in the hip file options from Houdini. Select the hip file options and be sure that the units here, like in the hip file options, it must be the same in the hip file, meter, meter, millimeter, millimeter, and so on. And you can see here there are some settings for the texture, keep it as you see it here. And the very important setting for the exporter is the extra data. So you can see here, include the spines. This is the setting that we need to set for the geometry, to make this geometry tree, the tree model, work in the future with the rigging tool that we will create into Houdini. So you can see there are more than one option. There are the wind plus bones, and there are just the bones. The spines, I want just this one, the spines. So this is the setting, and don't forget that we have this plus button here. You can click here and save the setting. As you can see, I saved it here. It is named Houdini FX export. Click on OK and wait a little while this process it will be done. Okay, it is finished right now, and go back into Houdini. And firstly, before I will start export this mesh, I need to install one digital asset, and this digital asset you can find it also inside the folder. Into the project files, go to the SpeedTree OTLs folder. You can see it, the SpeedTree fbx.otl. Accept and install it. And right now hit the tab on the keyboard, and you can find that right now there are new tab here. It is the SpeedTree. Select the first tool here, the SpeedTree FBX. Hit enter on the keyboard. Right now this SpeedTree FBX window will open to navigate to the file where the geometry FBX exists. Open the SpeedTree files, the tree geometry, export, hand draw tree, accept, and wait a little while this tool it will create all the nodes for the tree export into Houdini. So I will pause. I will create a pause. So right now the tree model loaded successfully, and you can see we have this tree geometry in the viewport, and in the network we have the single node subnetwork with the name hand draw tree. Dive into this subnetwork and you can find there are two nodes. Firstly, it is the geometry node, and you can see the other node. It is firstly, let's go inside this hand draw tree node, and you can see we have firstly this file node with all the geometry, and we have right now after this file node we have groups over the trunk and branches, and we have group over the leaves and material node, and switch for the display. Okay, so this is the geometry model, and there are one other node, this one here. It is the hand draw spines, the extra data. So dive into this node and you can see there are a huge number of nodes here, and for each branch there are node created here. And the very interesting thing and the very useful thing that there are order for this nodes here. If I close and zoom in, you can see there are parent. Let us see the setting for the Houdini. I will long wire feeding, turn this off, and you can see right now we have this network here. So first node here, the main node, it is the trunk. So if I will select the trunk, and this is the trunk node, you can see everything is a child. Every one of those parts here is a child for of the trunk. For example, if I will select this one, you can see it is a child, and the parent is the trunk node. So this is very useful, and in the next video we'll see how we can use this for creating, collect and combine all these spines together and create attribute over what is the parent and what is the child. So for example, this node here, it is a child for the trunk, and it is a parent for this one here. If I select this node here, I will find it a child for this node. So this is this one, this branch, and this one, it must be child for this branch. So select here and you can see it is a child. And for example, if I will select one other branch spine, if I select this one here, you will find it a child for this one. So this is the parent, this is the child, as you can see, and there are two child. This is right now, it is parent, and there are two child. So this is very useful. As I told you, in the next video we'll see how we can create a Python tool, and this Python tool, it will collect and combine all these spines in one node, and it will create attribute over what is the first parent, what is the child, and what is the next child, and so on. So this is the setting, and how we can create a SpeedTree model and how we can export it with the setting that we want for our tool to work. And thank you for watching. See you in the next video to see how we can create Python tool for create attribute over the parent and the child. Thank you very much. Goodbye.